Good morning and welcome back to the one that Celtic fans view this morning. It's Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Hope you enjoyed the tune that I put up in the community tab. It's an old rave classic from 1992. And if you remember that tune, you are someone that knows their music from 1992. Anyway, May. We're finally in May. The end of the season is upon us. The time to knuckle down. There's one player that's coming back to Celtic. And it's Bosun Lawwell. I'm going to play his little montage that he put up on Instagram. Bosun Lawwell says, big thanks to my teammates, my manager, and all the staff. My first full season in senior football had its ups and downs, but I returned to Celtic stronger player thanks to the people around me. Fleetwood is a special club with special fans, and no doubt it will get back to where it belongs, up the cods, says Bosun Lawwell. And I've got to say, he's turned into a bit of a tank, isn't he? He's turned into a bit of a man beast that we thought he's going to be some player for us. Is he the next Bobo Baldi for us? I mean, look at him. He's towering above the players in that Fleetwood team. I'd have loved to have seen Scott Brown with him. But would Scott Brown have changed him into that midfield player that he now seems to be? But yeah, he's a big tank. I mean, it's easy to put these montages together and make the player look good. But when we watch this diagonal ball, fall right at the feet. I mean, the last time we had somebody that could do that consistently was Alan Stubbs. Alan Stubbs was great at doing that for coming out in defence. He could put a diagonal ball to land at anyone's feet. I'm really looking good. I'm really looking forward to the one and only Bosun Lawwell coming back to Celtic. I think this has done him the world of good. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see where he fits back into the team at Celtic. Will he save Celtic millions and millions of pounds this summer by stepping in to defence? Will he oust Liam Scales? Will he go on to become the man mountain next to the one and only Cameron Carter-Vickers? Or will Brendan Rodgers deploy him in the midfield position? It's going to be an interesting time. Brendan will have the chance to look at him over the next month since he is back at Celtic now. And it'll be interesting to see what Brendan says about him, because I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will be asked about him. Now, talking about the one and only Brendan Rodgers, he hasn't been picked. He hasn't been chosen for the shortlist of the Manager of the Year nominees. And John Hartson thinks it's bizarre. And I'm going to say to John Hartson, why do you think it's bizarre? Because Brendan Rodgers hasn't done anything. He's not won anything. He wasn't successful in Europe. He hasn't won anything in the league. We're 3 points ahead by the skin of our teeth going into the end of the season. He's not really set the heather on fire, has he? And he's only improved really one player this season, and that'd be Matt O'Reilly. And Matt O'Reilly's publicly said that, look, I've learned more under Brendan Rodgers and I've progressed more under Brendan Rodgers in one season than I did with 2 seasons under Ange Postecoglou. But Brendan Rodgers has not been named for the nominees. The nominees for the vote by fellow managers of Manager of the Year. First up is Derek McInnes. He's going to win it all day long, isn't he? Derek McInnes, for what he's done at Kilmarnock, and Aberdeen will be ruined the day that they got rid of him. But he was at Aberdeen for a long time. But Derek McInnes has done well at Kilmarnock. Tony Docherty, considering the budget that Dundee's got, they've made top 6. And then you've got John McGlynn. John McGlynn at Falkirk. He's still on the scene. Is he not like 180? John McGlynn, God bless him. Is he not Rafe Rovers manager living at one time? He's been around, hasn't he? He was Dundee manager as well at one point. John McGlynn was, I don't know. He's had that many teams. He's probably had more teams than hot dinners at his age. Anyway, Celtic manager John Hartson reckons it's bizarre that Brendan Rodgers has been snubbed for it. I think I wouldn't expect Brendan Rodgers to be picked for Manager of the Year because he's not done anything this time. I mean, you can understand why he won it first time he was here at Celtic, but this time he's not done it. He's just not done anything. Out the cup the first couple of weeks of the season, he didn't deserve to be in it. Anyway, John Hartson also goes on to say that he's been greatly impressed by the job that Rodgers has done since returning to Glasgow. Calm down, people, calm down. John Hartson then goes on to say, he says, look, given the number of issues which has been happening off the field over the past 9 months, when you look at it, the Green Brigade's been expelled from the stadium. And remember that? Yep. And the atmosphere had been absolutely terrible for weeks and weeks on end. The treble winners of last season, their managers departed and Brendan Rodgers came back to the fold. And a lot of people say they didn't want Brendan back, and a lot of people said they did do him. But the fact that Celtic has spent a lot of money over the last couple of transfer windows, has it been enough to strengthen the squad? And let's face it, you're going to give Brendan a buy on last summer's transfer window, because he was left a load of players that were earmarked by the previous manager and signed off because he thought that maybe Ange could pick a good player. But when you see the players that came in last summer, there was none of them that were really good enough. Hardly any of them. So anyway, Brendan Rodgers, he reckons that although the likes of Callum McGregor has had pretty much a poor second half of the season, you have to question what's actually went on with Callum, because he said that this is something that happens season after season. Is Callum getting played too much? Is he not getting the help that he needs in midfield? But remember that Callum McGregor is a player that is in his Celtic career is used to having Celtic players around him that he had to get up to their level. Callum McGregor currently plays in a Celtic team where he predominantly has to get the players around him up to his level. That's how far back Celtic have went this season. It is how far back they've went this season. Anyway, speaking ahead of a golf tournament yesterday, Hartson, who helped us get to Seville, remember them, says that Celtic are going to spend big money this summer. And he reckons that Celtic will spend big money. We all know, we'll hope. We'll hope. The fact that, look, Matt O'Reilly's gone. I don't care what anyone says. People are saying that Matt O'Reilly will still be here. Open your eyes, mate. Open your eyes. He's a player that he knows he's going to get. There's going to be some big clubs coming for him this summer. Celtic want to know if he's leaving or not. They'll know. They'll have contingency plans that if Matt O'Reilly does go, they'll have a player in mind that they're going to bring in, or players. Bosun Lawwell might step up to the mark. You never know. You never know. Might save us millions. Tell me what you think about that. Is Bosun Lawwell done enough in his first full season in senior football to come back to Celtic? Or is it a level just too high? It'll be interesting. I really hope that it does come back and achieve lots with Celtic, young Bosun Lawwell. But John Hartson says there's money there, and I really do think that Brendan will get the back in, because all you want to hear him say in every interview since January is we talked about bringing in quality. I don't think that's happened, and it hasn't happened. We've never brought in decent quality for a couple of windows, certainly since Brendan's back. When you think about it, this time around, we can get straight into the Champions League once again. We need to spend big. We cannot have another season like we did the last few seasons. They need to be stronger. You need quality players. You need big players, big characters. And you've got the likes of Cameron Carter-Vickers and currently Matt O'Reilly. But I think Matt O'Reilly will be the one player, he says, and that will leave. Listen, there's always teams that want to come in and nick your players, said John Hartson. We had a big for 20 million for Kieran Tierney. We had a big for 25 million for Jota. It's an extreme offer, but Celtic have no option then to turn those type of offers away. Brendan needs to add. He needs the money this time. He needs the money to bring in decent players. No more project players this summer, Celtic, please. No more project players. When you look at it, strikers are hard to find. We need to get a striker that can put the ball in the back of the net on a consistent basis. Kyogo Furiashi, he will start this weekend. He's won 6 major honours in a few years. No, he's not. Yeah, he's won 5 honours. 5 honours has Kyogo. And we really need somebody that can take the pressure off him slightly. Adam Ida, is that the man? No, I think Celtic are going to have to go out and spend better. And probably more money. Celtic are going to have to spend, like they did with the likes of Moussa Dembele and Odsonne Edouard. They're going to have to go out and spend the higher end of the transfer budget for Celtic, and that's going to be around about the £10 million for a player that's going to come in and do the job, because it's that kind of job that we need done at Celtic. Adam Ida, for me, now he's shown the type of player he is. He's never going to... He couldn't lace Odsonne Edouard's boots. He couldn't lace Moussa Dembele's boots, could he? Let's be realistic here, Celtic fans. Tell me what you think in the comments. He's not the answer. He's been a good addition to the squad that we needed over this half of the season. I did say that he would score 10 goals. He's a few away from that just yet. Is he the type of player that we should buy for 6 million? No, not a chance. I haven't seen enough of him now. I don't think he can progress much more as a player, to be honest. And I don't think that he's a player that would get into any Champions League team. Let's be perfectly honest. And that's a harsh reality for the player. He's a good player. I'm not knocking him as a player. I think Adam Ida, he is a good player. There's a good player in there. But for the level that we are used to at Celtic, I just don't think that he's going to take us there, to be fair. As always, we like to finish on a happy note. And finally, yes, still Trevor McDonald saying from back in the day, to end on a little happier note. Today, we're not taking the piss out of the South Conians, the Zombies, the Rangers in disguise. We're nodding our hat to the one and only Danny McGrain. Danny McGrain, a complete Celtic legend. Danny McGrain, who was at Celtic for longer than anyone can remember. In fact, he was there under the current manager. He was still there under Brendan Rodgers. The man who played alongside some absolute legends of the game for Celtic is 74 today. Danny McGrain, who was an inspirational right back. Let it be said. He was a fantastic right back for Celtic. He played with some fantastic players, like people who went on to manage Celtic, like Lou Macari. And if you remember the Celtic during Lou Macari years, you'll remember how lucky we are just now as Celtic fans. And let's be honest, over the last 15 years or so as being a Celtic fan is the complete polar opposite to what Lou Macari brought to us as Celtic manager. But the one and only Danny McGrain is 74 today, so it's a big happy birthday. I think we should all wish Danny McGrain happy birthday in the comments. He's an absolute legend of the club. And if you want to see what Danny McGrain said about Brendan Rodgers when he left to go to Leicester, watch this video here. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.